Welcome, Sayah. An unfamiliar voice, yet partially recognizable, begins speaking as if through you, less than to you, simply to pass knowledge and information on to you. Due to your actions, you were passed off from your friends, if that's even what they still are, or even what they were. You've been handed off to the hands and care of Rotmus Vondar, the magus and headmaster within Waford, advisor to King Dorum Ebder. It was with saddened heart and strained voice, while some of the Stormbringers put you into a prison. They say that it was for not just your safety, but for others. Whether or not you feel the same, that is unknown. Whether you feel indifferent, that is unknown. How you feel is upon yourself, whether it is muted, saddened, or angry. Keeping track of time has been difficult. You rarely ever get to see, and when you do, it is still with a velvet-like bag over your head, keeping your vision hard and difficult to discern. Many days you feel your hands cramping as they are confined to large shackles. Many of the tasks you do are fairly simple, as you spend most of the day either laying in the one single bed or wandering in circles, exploring what little room you have, seeing the full lengths of the entire room and the length of the chain that is still shackled around your neck. You are never alone, as Rotmus will occasionally make a visit, as he will come by, giving food and water, occasionally trying to talk to you. Most of the time, you likely never give any words. You simply turn your head to stare in the direction of where you hear his voice, and tilt your head to the side, whether out of confusion or a disregard for care of his own opinion of what he thinks. What wanders through your mind is hard to keep track of, whether or not it is important or it is to be disregarded. For days, weeks, it was hard to tell at first. It's still hard to tell even now, as time is hard to keep track of. But as for the thoughts that constantly, or that have ceased to run through your mind, consisted of the Stormbringers, and as to why maybe they got angry, or perhaps it didn't matter. You knew what you were doing, and proceeded to do so, despite how they thought or felt. You acted as you were in danger, or you acted as, well, animalistic, one might say. But that is of your own judgment to discern. But recently, Rotmus has been different. He seems to not only be talking to you, but to someone else that's in the room. It took a little bit, but eventually you were able to tell that it was Kakash who was making visits with Rotmus. At least from bits of conversation before they enter, and then after they leave, you can tell that Rotmus doesn't fully trust Kakash. That Kakash is to limit how much he can conversate and even talk. But perhaps he's taken Kakash as a student, perhaps? Or perhaps he is there to keep an eye on you. You're not too sure. In many nights where you may have simply silently rested staring into the darkness, or perhaps the silence has become too much and you scream away against the walls as the sound is slowly swallowed and deafened against the flagstone. In the few times that you can reach out to try and hear a familiar voice, you were only told, "Patience, child. The silence will end, and the air will scream with sound. You will be rewarded with knowledge of what's to come. But for now, you must pass through this insanity of silence." So you proceed to wait and wait. But recently, there's been someone else, something else, that has now occasionally wandered into the room with you. You aren't sure, but you can just sense a presence. Never speaking while Rotmus and Kakash are there, but you could feel as though it is watching you. Almost as if it's trying to understand you, or finding the right moment to speak to you. Eventually, this presence makes itself known. You can feel your restraints loosening ever so slightly. The sound of metal as it slightly widens enough for your hands to slip in and out of these shackles. You can find release latches upon the mask you wear in order to free your face from the darkness. You see yourself in a dimly lit room. Faint sconce-like torches illuminate the space, likely to give off some semblance of light, despite the fact you could never see it. Shadows jump and flicker while the flames dance among the walls, ever so gently. But you still feel that presence around you. You suddenly feel it behind you. Turning to look, you see nothing but your shadow stretched up across the wall. And yet somehow, your shadow produces a simple grin. This grin suddenly begins to speak. "Hello, dear child. I have been watching for some time. I I was intrigued when you summoned me out of random chance. Well, you didn't fully summon me. You summoned forth a piece of me. I've been intrigued. A young child like yourself, as he simply whispers, never speaking in a term that seems aggressive. This presence always seems more intrigued and wanting to learn. Simply wait, child. Time will come, and when it does, I will break you from these bonds. But in return, you will have to help me. But that is something we can discuss. I know your friends turned you away, and chances are they won't help you. But I promise I will. But when I do help you, you will have to help me. I'll be waiting whenever you're ready. The smile within the shadow fades, and eventually, you hear the sound of Rotmus and Kakash returning once again. As you quickly put your shackles back on and the mask back across your face, you remain hidden, and as far as they can tell, they can't determine that your shackles and your mask have been removed. So now you simply wait patiently for the moment that you can be free. This is more of a retelling of your story thus far. If you wish to confirm, reach out to me. If there's anything else that you wish to achieve or attempt, we can discuss that. But until further notice, you simply wait silently in the dark.